God bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet
Once again, big round of applause for Bella Porter. Fans, let's stay standing.
Let's hear it for
Let's
Bella
Porter.
Of course, I am biased, but I think that was one of the best renditions of God Bless America that I've ever heard. Sang by my daughter. Hey, dads have the right to be proud, right? Good morning, everybody. You are watching on the Smart Money Culture TV network, as well as joining from around the world on wonderful platforms like YouTube and Facebook, Rumble, Instagram, and the rest of them. We have an exciting show today. There's a lot going on in the world, as you know. The title of today's show says a lot. It's a mouthful. Trump taps war monger Nikki Haley to campaign as Biden sends troops and another $5.2 billion to Israel. Glad I never went in the military. But will our kids be drafted? Now they're drafting girls too. I think that Biden already made that into law, I think. Is Iran the line in the sand for China and Russia? You see now China has called for the military to get ready for war. This was often talked about a while ago, that Iran was the line in the sand. I know I talked about it on the show a number of times, that China and Russia are not going to let Iran fall. And nobody's really talked about it lately. World War III seems inevitable. The markets are jittery. Now, we have had a nice move in the crypto markets. That is for sure over the weekend. A lot of times when pumps happen over the weekend, though, you got to be ready because there's less liquidity in the markets on the weekends. And so when there's less liquidity, it is easy to move markets. So then when the liquidity comes back, a lot of times we're in due for a pullback. Basically, jittery, though, we see over Hong Kong Stock Exchange down about 1.5%. Gold is still up today, but really near all-time high. We're going to talk a little bit more about that on the Market Watch portion of the show with Matt Dixon. Trump taps Nikki Haley. I mean, throw up. I just, I try, especially lately, I try not to get as involved in the politics. Like, I actually, to be completely honest, I'm looking forward to the election being over and I can just focus on finance and stuff again. Maybe I'll be able to. I'm not sure. We'll see. But because it's just, well, number one, it's so divisive. I mean, who in the world, though, wants Nikki Haley on the campaign trail? And actually, Nikki Haley, pretty sure Trump told everybody she would not have a place in his administration. But I mean, whatever, he'll do whatever he wants. I'm not coming down on Trump, I guess. I'm just saying throw up about Nikki Haley. I mean, this is like this woman wants war with everybody. She wants to drop bombs on everybody. She's like the biggest Zionist you ever met. She's married to a Rothschild, I think. Rothschilds are the ones who. That's the central banking cartel. That's who owns the country. This is why, I didn't go into politics. A guy like me, it's hard to get into politics because I am honest about things. And I don't know. I voted for Trump. There's two people I voted for in my whole life. I voted for Bush W, and I voted for Trump. And that's it. I'm really a libertarian. And after watching what happened with Bush, I thought, well, that's pretty funny because, of course, we all got him elected, and of course, all the funny business in Palm Beach and Florida. And then that guy took away what little rights we had left. You used to be able to, if you got pulled over, tell the police, I don't want you to search my car. You don't have probable cause. And they wouldn't do it. Now they say, get the F out of the car, dude. Put you in handcuffs. You have no rights. Patriot Act took everything away. He put in the FISA court. They can do whatever they want now. We're like, just like when we were kids, we used to say, can you believe how those people live in Russia? Can you believe how they live in Russia? In East Germany? Can you believe it? They can listen to them all the time. They spy on them all the time. They have no rights. Well, that's what we have now. I don't even know how I'm able to continue doing the show, to be honest. They're probably coming after me one time soon. Who knows? World War III seems inevitable now. Either side, whoever gets elected, the Democrats, we have an illusion of a two-party system. And I hear you. Hopefully Trump is just playing both sides and he's doing what he has to do to get elected. I hope so. I really do. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, do you really think that that's what's going on? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. I do not know. But I don't know who's advising him, but Nikki Haley, the warmonger, Nikki Haley. So if Trump gets in, we're going to have war with Iran. And if Biden stays in, we're having war with Iran. As I said a little bit earlier, I think that China and Russia are not going to let Iran fall. So it looks to me like we're getting World War III either way. We haven't really been hit on the homeland here since Pearl Harbor, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's been a long time, but if you think China with 1.6 or something crazy like that billion people, I guess since I said it, I'll look. How many people are there in China? Google. Population of China. 1.4, it says. 1.4 billion people. Military bases that they built out of in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. AI like you dream about. They've been making so much of our technology. If Israel can make all the pagers blow up, China can probably make these blow up. Oh. So now we have boots on the ground. We have boots on the ground. Our boys and girls, presumably, are on the ground in Israel. I guess they're probably on the ground in Ukraine, too. North Korea has sent 10,000 troops to the Ukraine, or to Russia to fight the Ukraine. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Big move up, though, in the markets on crypto. Hopefully you caught that. I had some short positions that were doing pretty well, and I stopped out. Of course, I do have some long positions, too. One of those long positions I have is the Sulky the dog. I've talked about Sulky quite a bit. Sulky had a nice move up as well. Now, this one I am long on. Topped off my bag a bit ago. And let me show you this this chart and where we're moving here. Sulky. Solana Key. Okay, here we are. So this is a community takeover coin. I am in direct contact with the main person. Okay. We have here nice pumps here. Okay, it's a lovable little dog. Down around here, right here, we've seen everybody's folded, and then boom, they take the community takeover. They bring my brother David and I on for the big push. Speaking of David, where is David? Let me get him on here. And now you can see we have a nice move today. And with where we're going, I think we're looking pretty good, guys. I think we're looking pretty good here. Sulky the dog. Very lovable little dog here. Okay. I'm about to play Matt Dixon's he sent me a recording, so I watched it. I listened to it beforehand. He talked about how his buddy, and I'll let him tell the whole story, but anyway, best performing asset, he bought a bunch of assets. Best performing one was a meme. People like things. People like memes. They like them, right? So Sulky is one of those ones. I like it. And I think the potential here is massive. I think the potential is massive. You go from this, 30, 40,000 market cap or something like that, even up to 100,000, guys, which is a really easy move. It's 2-3x. Okay, you go to $1 million, you're really styling. You go to 10 million, man, we're moving. 100 million, man, we're just 10 million is life-changing money. 100 million is, that's what you dream about. And that stuff happens in crypto. So even if we have a pullback, which we should probably have a pullback right now, it'll probably be attached to Israel. So Israel now, they have the new air defense stuff that we put over. They have our troops on the ground. And I guess they're going to strike Israel, right? I mean, I guess they're going to strike Iran. Everyone's, they sent in a Hezbollah sends in a drone, comes from Lebanon, and it hits Netanyahu's house. And he comes out and says, Iran tried to kill me. Trump has an assassination attempt by some white guy who might have been Jewish. I'm not sure totally. Everything, you can't ever trust anything you see. There's a picture of him with a hat on, but whatever. White, Caucasian looking guy. Iran tried to kill me. They get another guy, another Caucasian looking guy. I don't know if he's Christian or Jewish or whatever. He's with the rifle, with the AK-47 or something, or a long gun of some type on the golf course. And he tries to kill Trump, supposedly. And Trump comes out and says, Iran tried to kill me. Everybody wants war with Iran. So I guess we're going to have war with Iran. I hate that stuff, guys. I'll tell you what. Dad got shot in Vietnam. Grandpa got shot twice. He had shrapnel to the head. He got shot twice and shrapnel to the head. And, he was in World War II in Korea. So World War II was a lot more fun than Korea. Girls were prettier. That's what he thought anyway. I don't know, guys. The military-industrial complex is unbelievable here. It's unbelievable. And DC, I don't talk. some stuff I'm going to have to talk about it sooner or later. But you have to understand that good people have been blocked from having jobs here. They've been blocked. Like if you're a patriot, you can't have one of these jobs. You can't have one of these jobs. Forget the Constitution, what the Constitution says. The people that decide, the deep state that decides whether you can have the job or not. If you're a Trump supporter, I mean, kind of like forget about it. You can't work for the state. And then we wonder why Trump hires all the people he hires. I don't know why in the world. Nikki Haley. I mean, good Lord. I mean, what's he going to do? Make her Secretary of State? God help us all. Anyway, what was I was going to say? I was going to do something before I went off on the tangent. Nikki Haley's got me she's got my panties in a bunch. I just really, if that's indicative of what's to come, we are in big trouble, guys. We're in big trouble. Anyway, I knew what I wanted to do now. I wanted to play how long we've wanted to go to war. And actually, the whole Ayatollah and everything that's there, where the reason we're at war, the reason he's there is because the CIA and everybody went after, and we tried to do a regime change, and we did the regime change, and then we got the Ayatollah, and nobody likes him now. Wesley. This is from years ago. Wesley Clark. Here he is talking about everybody wants war with Iran. And listen to the countries that he lists off. Listen to this, 2 minutes.
To worry about Iraq, not Iran. I knew why, because I'd been through the Pentagon right after 9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me. And one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
We've been after Iran for a long time. Hillary Clinton, she wanted Iran so bad. Iran, I guess, is the crown jewel. Newsflash: Australia has joined the U.S.-Israel war against the Yemen's Houthis, who have been attacking and blockading ships bound for Israel over its genocide in Gaza. And it is a genocide. Killing babies, kids, bombing people, saying, "Oh, there's terrorists around." killing entire families. It's horrible. There's no public information or debate about Australia getting involved in the war, no government explanation or justification, and no parliamentary discussion or approval. You know why, right? We talk about it all the time. Because the central bank owns Australia just like they own the U.S. They don't need a parliamentary approval. We don't need Congress approval. My man here, Thomas Massey, says, hey, you're going to have a war. You're supposed to come to Congress. But the Fed doesn't care. Central banking cartel, they don't care. They're in control. Congress is not in control. So same thing over in Australia. They got the same setup, same deal. All right, let's I have a market report here from my main man, Matt Dixon. Just to give you a quick brief as I come over, he's going to talk about some real world assets as well. But even as we are talking on the show here, Bitcoin is still looking pretty strong, a little bit off its high from yesterday, or from overnight and yesterday of 69,300 or so, 300 or 400, 64.6, 68, yeah, somewhere around there. Ethereum is at 2,700. Algorand is at 1,284. Ton, the mighty Ton coin at 529. The doggy, as I still call it, doggy Dogecoin has had a very nice move up. It's about 14.6 cents. BNB as well, looking strong at 607. Solana, nice move up to 171, I believe, 173. I think it was 171 that it hit. Sitting at 166.83 right now. Moving around, Litecoin had a very nice move up to $76. It has now retraced a bit to 73. And that has been kind of inversely working with Bitcoin. Fairly interesting. Anyway, some of the ones that I trade as well. All right, I have the market report here. Let's see what the great Matt Dixon has to say. I know he is speaking today at a conference. All my friends are in Dubai. It's like conference season. It's October. It's conference season. They're all calling me, Bruce, where are you? I hit the circuit pretty hard. I've spoken at all those places. All right, here we have the market report, Market Watch report with the great Matt Dixon.
Morning, Bruce. Morning, Impact Money viewers. Hope you had a nice weekend. So I've been called to talk about RWAs. That's real world assets, tokenization of real world assets. So I just thought I'd open up with that a little bit before we dive into the markets. Quite an interesting topic. In fact, just on a side note, I was discussing with a close friend who's a big investor into crypto. He invested some time ago, a year or so ago, into a load of different tokens. He did some research and looked at those which potentially have the most real value, underlying value, in what they're going to do, the use case, the utility, etc. But he also invested in a bunch of memes. And believe it or not, the best, well, I say believe it or not, I'm sure you do believe it, the best returns have been gained from a token called, let me just check it, it's called, well, it's a Harry Potter Obama Sonic meme, just some crazy meme. And it's already done multi-X since that time. So all those ones with real value haven't performed that well. And the one with basically zero value, a total meme, has performed, it's done multi-X. It's probably about 10X by now, I think, since he invested. So just makes you think about crypto in general, and even Bitcoin. If you think about it from the early days, it was designed as a transfer, to use for transfer of value, as a kind of alternative to money, and a way of getting away from the centralization, corruption of the fiat system. And it's not that transfer of money. It's not being used for that at all. It is being used as a store of value. And that's what's given Bitcoin its value today. And it's still highly volatile. It couldn't be used at the moment really as a means of transferring value in terms of spendable money, because you never know from 1 minute to the next what it's going to be worth. It's very, very volatile. We can see 10% in just a few minutes, possibly 10% fluctuation. So for merchants who are receiving Bitcoin as payment for goods, if the price were to plummet, it actually puts them in a serious problem. So that's why a lot of cryptocurrencies are not actually really showing the promise. Well, they're showing different promise, shall we say, that Bitcoin has proved to be some kind of store of value, but it's still very much a speculative asset. And I think we have to recognize that the real attraction of cryptocurrencies has been that speculative aspect to them. So, for example, that Harry Potter Obama Sonic coin, it's pure speculation. It's been one of the best performers. And this is a challenge we've had at eBay. So at eBay, we built a decentralized rating system, very powerful, built on AI, machine learning, looking at all the factors that determine underlying value of crypto assets to try to determine which are the best investments for the future, I guess. And it's been a real challenge because you can look as logically as you want, but what people are looking for is a quick return. When you're looking at crypto, it's highly volatile. It's a new emerging asset class, and people are looking for quick returns. They're not looking for the logic behind it. It's very much looking at degens investing, and Bruce has embraced this quite a bit with some of the tokens he's invested in. But it just shows you that it's challenging. So when we look at real world assets, again, are we just basically creating a solution to a problem which may not be there, or a problem that already has solutions? So when we want to understand tokenization of real world assets, I just wanted to put it into layman's terms for myself as much as anything, to understand exactly what we're talking about. And I think REITs are probably the best analogy to what a tokenized real world asset is. So a REIT is a real estate investment trust. And I've actually been dealing in investment trusts for many, many years throughout my trading career. And investment trusts invest in assets. Basically, they split them, so they invest into assets. They're a company, effectively, that has shares. And the company invests into real world assets like property, like shares, like bonds, whatever it might be. And that the trust itself is supposed to reflect the value of the underlying asset. And this actually just brings me to one of the potential problems with tokenized real world assets, that the actual value of the token does not necessarily reflect the value of the underlying asset. So real estate or investment trusts in general, they often trade at a premium or a discount. So they trade basically above or below net asset value. And we saw that with Bitcoin, with the Bitcoin investment trust, Grayscale investment trust, that traded at a massive discount for a long, long time. So people bought into it. And then when we got the ETF launch, people actually cashed out at full value. And that was just showing the real problem with these tokenized real world assets. They will not necessarily trade at the value. And then you got all the other problems potentially of, it's a decentralized solution, but it has lots of centralized aspects to it. So you still need managers to run the real estate. It needs to be properly valued. There needs to be liquidity, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just saying overall that it's maybe not what the retailer is looking for. They're looking for a quick gain. Real world assets are supposed to reflect the value of the underlying asset. So for example, if you're using tokenized gold, you've still got the issues of storage, you've still got the issues of insurance, and there are many other paper solutions to investing in gold. So I'm not quite sure whether tokenizing gold is a real solution or whether you're just creating a solution to a problem that may not be there. So that's enough anyway of that. So let's just have a quick look at the markets. They've rebounded really nicely. But I'll look at long-term Solana. As you know, it's one of my favorites. I still think we're in this consolidation phase. We did break higher, and we'll look on the shorter term in a moment. I think there's a potential that we've actually broken the triangle. In other words, the triangle's potentially invalidated, but I still do believe we're in a consolidation. So you can see we've had the strong move higher on the left-hand side, big flagpole, and we're very much chopping sideways. Now, at some point, I've always said we're going to break to new all-time highs for Bitcoin, which has the same sort of chart pattern, and same with Solana, certainly above the local high here of 210. So I had been expecting the break higher, but I've always been saying, that's the reason I've been saying dollar cost average, DCA, because yes, long term, we're going to highs above this level. I'm very sure of that because this is a consolidation, but we don't know. Even now, this could still be in consolidation mode. So we could have some kind of ABW, we could an ABX higher, and there could still be another push down. So it's so uncertain at the moment. And when we think about the uncertainties on the horizon, I've mentioned them before, but we still have, of course, the Fed rate decision. Now, I understand there's a 99.3% chance now that they will be lowering rates by 25 basis points. And the date of that is November 7th. That's, of course, just after the US election, November 5th. So that's another major uncertainty. Maybe one of the reasons why we've been seeing a bit of a rally. But also the fact the markets do like the fact that they're still lowering interest rates, not too aggressively. They took an aggressive move first time round. There's another cut on the horizon. And maybe that's why we're seeing this dollar strength at the moment. It's a muted cut, that maybe they seem to be in control of things. And growth is still robust in the US. So it's probably more like a soft landing scenario rather than, for example, Europe, UK, even China, where it's not a soft landing. Basically, the economies are slowing dramatically. Inflation is now well below target for those economies. And so they're dropping rates quite aggressively. Maybe they should be dropping them more aggressively. The US are dropping gradually now. I mean, I suppose they started aggressively, but they're dropping gradually, and yet they've still got a robust economy. So they're in a good situation right now. And with this run up to the election, that's why assets have been doing really well. Also, even on the geopolitical front, there's been no retaliation yet from Israel. And that tells us why oil has been continuing to fall. We can see a little tick up today, but in general, we've had quite a substantial fall in oil. And so far, that looks like an impulsive fall in oil. We've got 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no overlap between wave 4 and wave 1. Wave 1 is clearly broken into 5 waves as well. Wave 2 is an ABC higher. I think if we looked on a shorter time frame, we'll see wave 3 is 5 waves. So basically, there's potential, because from the very bottom here, we've got 3 waves higher on a bigger scale. There's potential that we may get a little rebound higher in oil, but there may be still lower to come. That's probably good for the economy in general, because lower oil prices mean there are less headwinds, less expenses for business, transportation, etc., etc. So in general, that's probably good. So at the moment, things are looking reasonably good for the US economy for equity stocks. So we may still continue to see rallying to new all-time highs for the S&P, etc. And we're seeing that again. If I flip over now to the SPX, S&P 500, we can see once again we're flirting with all-time highs yet again. And it looks like there's still more to come potentially out of there. But at some point there'll be a nasty correction, I'm sure, because we do still have a lot of problems on the horizon. You know, although at the moment things are looking stable, there are geopolitical tensions. Israel will retaliate at some point. There are economic tensions. The economy is beginning to slow. We are beginning to see unemployment ticking up. There are debt problems. So there's a lot of problems out there that at the moment are not manifesting in asset prices. At some point that will happen. And when it happens, it usually happens very aggressively, very quickly.
Very fast.
I'll just jump back to Solana now. So Solana, as I said, we've had a really good push up. So I looked at long term. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Look at shorter term situation. So the potential triangle I was talking about was from the bottom. I might just even draw it in just for you to see. I'll put the triangle A, B, C, D, E. So we'll start from the bottom here as the beginning. Basically, you'd have A to there, B to there, C, D, and potentially E. Now, I don't like it because it looks too much of an overshoot. As you'll be aware, the E wave is allowed to overshoot the trend line of the triangle. It looks a bit aggressive to me. But it's still possible. It's just possible it's a triangle. But as I say, it looks a bit too much of an overshoot. That movement from there to there looks too much of an overshoot. What we may actually do is possibly retest the trend line and then push higher again. So I think short term we'll probably have a bit of a pullback on Solana. It's had a really powerful move. We were in the 140s not long ago. We're now in the we were in the 170s, now 168. So that's the triangle potential. It's still possible, but looking a bit doubtful. But even so, it's still looking corrective, higher. And basically, we've also had, you can see it's very much overlapping, choppy movement. So it's possible this is some kind of A, B, and C movement higher. That could be the end of the correction. So A to here. And this could even potentially be in 5 waves, this A wave. And then we've got a 3-wave move down for the B wave and some movement up. It's more likely a WXY, to be honest, to the upside. But what we've seen here, I measured from the bottom to the top of the A wave here, just transpose that measurement to the top of the B, and it gave us a target, the C wave of 173 for Solana. Now, we didn't quite reach there, but it is quite possible that that is around the 100% extension of this A wave. So it's potentially may have topped out, or it may just tick up and push to the 173.90, somewhere around there before it turns around. But I think short term we're potentially due a bit of a pullback, but it could actually turn into something aggressive. So that's why I'm always cautious. Right now, if I was looking at a position, I'd be looking at short position with a stop loss somewhere above this line here. So I'd be entering somewhere around the 173 area, short side, with stop losses just above maybe 175-ish area, and with potential for massive downside. But it would be a small position, maybe dollar cost average in, not jumping in one go, because there's big risk. We could potentially just smash through here and move to the upside, because there are positives like the election, etc., etc. So that's Solana. Same sort of story for Bitcoin. We'll just jump over to Bitcoin. We can see again, we've had again a potential overshoot. The E wave could potentially be here. That's still a possible triangle A, B, C, D, E. We can see with an overshoot. It's not as big as a Solana overshoot. So potentially, again, we could be turning back. It's also, interestingly, if this is a final E wave in the form of ABC, the C wave was just over 1.618 times the A wave within this larger E wave. So again, potential for turnaround. Again, I'd be looking at short positions with a stop loss just above. So if you do lose, it's not going to be too big a loss. I'm going to flip fairly quickly because I've got to head over to a presentation again shortly. But we can see that generally across the board right now, although we've had a really solid weekend. Now, just remember my rule of thumb that when we basically had a sell-off before the weekend. In other words, the market's moved down a little bit. Into the weekend, we had a really powerful rally. Now, normally what I say is that when we get a powerful rally after a move down, an opposite direction rally over the weekend, that tends to be short-lived because they're rallying in the face of small liquidity, low liquidity. It's easy for them to rally the markets. And I think this could potentially be a bull trap, trapping the bulls into long positions. So everyone's chasing this push higher. We've got all the narratives pushing it higher. But potentially there's potential for a serious reversal on the card. So that's why, as I say, I'm being very, very cautious. And I don't like chasing rallies higher. It's annoying sometimes because, for example, with Solana, I've missed the buy on that. I missed the move up because I'm being cautious right now. I'm afraid there could be a nasty reversal coming reasonably soon. So that's why I'm being cautious. It does mean that you'll miss out occasionally on the moves, but I think it's better safe than sorry usually. Here's gold once again, new all-time highs. Again, we've been saying this for more than a year now, or for about a year, that gold has been a tremendous investment. And if we look at the longer term, I'll just scroll out to, for example, daily, just shrink that chart a little bit. Again, they say trend is your friend for a trader, and we can see very clearly here, trend has been higher for a long, long time. This looks like some kind of ABC wave down, and this looks like some kind of further impulsive move to the upside. So if I measured that, just measure the first wave here. Transpose the bottom of that wave. Okay, we've potentially already surpassed. So this is a very, very happy to say this could be, I just have to check actually, which is the lowest point, because the wave 1 could be here. I just have to check on that. Could be an expanded flat wave 2. If wave 1 was here, I haven't got time on this show to really do proper deep analysis on this and check all the different time frames. But if that was wave 1, I mean, we could potentially have wave 1, 2. This could be wave 3 here, 4, and we could be on a final 5th wave in this cycle. So whilst we're pushing again, we're probably getting towards the upper limits for the time being. I still think gold is bullish longer term, but we are getting towards the upper limit. So again, we could be getting a reversal coming sometime in the not too distant future. So once again, I'm cautious, even with gold. Long term, I think it's great, but we're pushing those limits. New all-time highs again. We just keep pushing higher and higher. So fantastic for those who've been involved, those who've been following the show for the past year or so, been very, very positive. But I think things are relatively stable right now. So as I say, just be cautious with your positioning. Hope that little summary today helps. As we get more economic data coming through, that will obviously firm up the rate decision for the US, but it's very firm already. As I say, 99.3% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut on November 7th. That's just after the election. So that'll be a nice little election gift to whoever is the winner of that election. The fact they've just lowered interest rates, everyone will be on a high. So that may be the time that we start to think about possibly being the local high for the markets. So maybe we continue to rally. We're very, very close now to that election and to that rate decision. And maybe that will signal a local top in the markets. That's my guess for the time being. So anyway, again, thank you so much for listening. I look forward to catching up hopefully live tomorrow and wish you a good day. Bye for now.
Great, Matt Dixon. Matt Dixon is MD Trade, Dr. Trade, as I like to call him. Make sure to give him a follow on X, MD Trade. Yeah, Matt Dixon Trade on X. Follow him. He has all kinds of different tips that he puts out there. If you trade with Matt, like I have been doing over the last bit, Matt and I have worked together now for quite a while. And if you trade with Matt, you make money and you don't lose your money. First rule of trading is don't lose your money. Second rule is to make money, right? And that's the deal. I remember a long time ago being with, I had anyway, not losing your money is very, very important. If you don't have the money, then it's hard to make more money, right? So that's the number one. At times you may miss certain pumps, but if your overall strategy is to make money and always make winning trades, or to always, reduce the risk, then that's a really successful strategy. So of course, Trump, the new fry guy, was out at McDonald's here. He was doing the deal. Someone put together this little compilation. Let's look at this here. Trumpster. The Trumpster.
When the stars come out to play, babe, a twinkling show, ooh, dinner out of sight. Yeah, the night time is cold and light time.
That's funny. I'm going to stop that because probably they don't have the license to play that music, and so somebody's going to turn my stuff off. They always have guys looking for stuff like that. Hopefully that was a small enough portion that I won't get called on that. Trump hits storm-ravaged North Carolina. Kamala campaigns with Liz Cheney. Trump heads to Asheville, North Carolina today to survey the Hurricane Helene's aftermath and rally voters in key battleground states. Meanwhile, Kamala Lala is teaming up with Liz Cheney, who calls herself a Republican. Actually, she is a Republican. Trump's not really a Republican. In Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Big moves here. This video that they put out of Sinwar, I since it just came up, I have to tell you, this plays more into the whole conspiracy that Israel wants endless war than anything I've ever seen. Why in the world else would you put out a video of Sinwar's final moments? His arm's blown off, his knee is blown up, and look, he pulls his strength together and he throws something at the drone. He's like fighting until the very last moment. So if you're Israel, why in the world do you put that out? And I mean, they put it out like everybody's like, oh, he died like a dog. This and that. And then Israel puts out the video showing that he was like fighting until the very end. His AK-47, all his personal effects and everything else. Fighting against the evil Zionist regime that's killing his people. Like searing it in everybody's memory. And here's the thing. They're not dumb people. The Israelis are not dumb people. So they didn't just let the video out on accident. I don't believe that. So then you got to ask yourself, then why did they let the video out? Like they could have just said he died like a dog. Whimpering for his mommy. Crying, don't kill me. And people could have thought, no, that didn't really happen. But nobody would have known. But instead, they released the video of the man. He'd gotten like shot by a tank. He'd gotten shot by like a rocket. He's blown up. His arm's blown off. He's like fighting the evil Zionists until the last breath that he has. Forever etched in everyone's memory. There's like 1.6 billion or 1.3 billion Muslims out there. And they're people, the Palestinians, who Israel has told us our whole life really that don't exist. Palestine doesn't exist is what they told us. Many of you who even watch the show, maybe you're not sure that Palestine existed. Everyone says they don't exist. Palestinians really aren't real people. The truth is that the Palestinian people have more DNA traced back to Jesus, like 80% or something like that, than the modern day, most of the Caucasian Europeans in that state of Israel that was started by the Rothschilds. And people get that all mixed up too. The state of Israel started by the Rothschilds and the UN. Like, it's not the old Israel that from the Bible. But anyway, everyone gets that all conflated. So another 5.2 billion over there. The U.S. and Israel are going to kill a bunch more people with that. They're going to get a bunch more people killed too, because I think that they might wait. Now they might wait, and that will affect the markets. If they wait until after the election to attack, then the markets are just going to keep. The markets may just keep running up, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to wait. I don't know if they're going to wait. It's a very funny situation because the reality is that I just can't even wait to stop talking about it. Israel and this crap. I really just don't even like talking about it. But it's like affects everything, right? It affects the markets, it affects everything. You know, the war in Ukraine doesn't affect the markets like the war in Israel, because Israel, of course, you have the central bankers are all Israeli. The cartel, they're all Israelis. And you have the global markets are played a lot by these people. So see a bunch of short positions opening up. Probably going to move down. I don't know. Anyway, it is a mess. It's a big time mess. So we have, I would say they tell us there's 100 U.S. troops on the ground over there. anytime they tell you anything, you got to like at least triple it. So if they say there's 100, there must be at least 300. Right? That's it. I mean, that's just like normal rule of thumb. I would even say quadruple it. If they say there's 100, there's got to be at least 400 on the ground. And I didn't see any U.S. troops. I didn't see any stock or footage or anything that they put out about that. That would be, let me see here, U.S. troops. Update several U.S. THAAD. That was what we sent there, was the THAAD missile systems. U.S. troops in Israel. Let me, I can pull this up. We can look at it together. U.S. troop moving the terminal high altitude aerial defense THAAD systems. Takes a crew of 100 personnel to manage and operate the system in its entirety. Here they are. Now you can bet that that's going to be a big target. Now I can imagine that these THAAD systems are set up and then run remotely. U.S. troops and American defense are now fully deployed in Israel. I don't know if this is, So as a guy from DC, I can tell you this. Man, those guys are making a lot of money right now. A lot of money.
3K generator, it powers the system, and it also powers the spectrum.
So much money.
Missile has been rattled too much. There's a red band that shows up here, and that lets us know that the missile has gone bad.
האמריקנים בתרגיל משותף שמבטא את הידידות.
Little known fact that Netanyahu went to high school here in the U.S. Probably, who knows? Anyway.
האדירה בינינו.
Wow. To be here with the Prime Minister, with Colonel Orr, with our great American.
I know this guy. I can't remember his name though.
Soldiers, our friends from the IDF. Can't think of a better example of the incredibly close and important cooperation between Israel and the United States. This is an outstanding example of how the American Armed Forces have made a commitment to Israel's safety and security. They've done this in many other ways, but I can't think of a better single example than what we're looking at right now. And it's a testament to the really unbreakable bond between Israel and the United States at so many different levels.
Never mind that they're like bombing kids. Anyway. So that's going to be a big target. The U.S. troops are going to be a big target. So pray for those guys. They don't deserve it. They do not deserve it. Pray for those guys. Pray for our troops over there. And pray for everybody. At a certain point, there's going to be peace. Question is, how many people are going to die before we get there? Anyway, as the show went on, and then I'm going to step away from here. As the show has gone on, Bitcoin has stayed pretty much the same. Maybe flirted a little bit lower. Now at 68,385. Yeah, basically the same. That's it for me, guys. I love you. I'll be back on your TVs in about 5 hours, and I'll be streaming again tomorrow. Cheers. Oh, wait. I got to play my... Here we go. Oh, and if you have not used... I'll put my... Where is this one here? Booster. If you have not used Booster, you should use it. Let me put it up here. Booster, BOOSTR.live for secure, decentralized communications. Boom. Booster. Check it out. Booster.live. If you're not using that, maybe you want to use it. Don't have to put on an app. Signal and these other apps. WhatsApp, you know, they download your stuff to the NSA servers every night. Booster is different. It's just a web app. You can use it on your computer. You can use it on your phone. You don't have to download anything. It uses the latest and greatest tricks to keep your communications secure and secret. Check it out. Booster.live. I can share that screen too. Booster.live. Of course, that is made by our Global Boost. 100% secure. You can make your own room right here. You can make it longer, shorter. You can do whatever you want. You can actually make this whatever you want. Okay? You can make it Impact Money Show. Okay, whatever you want. And then you join the room, and then boom. And then once that room will stay there too. So you can continue using it. Or just use, if you want it secure, completely unlimited, completely randomized conference rooms and users without call time limitation. This is a multi-user decentralized conference server. We engineered a platform with a maximum video quality, lowest latency that makes your calls crystal clear. This platform is compatible with all browsers and platforms. It really is absolutely wonderful. You can do presentations on it, powered by Global Boost Media. You can do all kinds of stuff. And guys, I'll tell you what, I don't talk about Global Boost so much. It's just, you know, that's the underlying company, of course. But if you look at where our price is right now and where we've been, you might want to grab a bag. Looking pretty scrumptious. We usually have nice pumps about now. We'll see. I'm working with a few other people. Certainly speculative assets, all those types of things. Okay. No guarantees on anything. It's not financial advice. All right. Cheers, guys.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.